Hello, this is MadSpartus from both the Battleforge forums and in-game. I'm bringing to you today my second audio commentary. It's a 1 versus 1 game on the map Elyon. I like this map. It doesn't have a lot of walls all over it and stuff like that, but I'll talk about that in a second. The map is between myself in the south and WARazzazzin in the north, and I'll be referring to their players by their color or by their position. So we have fire in the north and shadow in the south. This map has a high concentration of power wells in the center and an orb, and not only is this center important for the extra power, but it overlooks the two other orbs in the center. It makes it much easier to attack or defend those positions, and without any of the orbs in the center, a player only has one natural expansion with one power well, which makes it very hard to play competitively with a lack of power there, and no ability to go tier 3 without being able to push into the center. So this map frequently results in a rush to the center, and let me get the replay started now. So we have a Dread Charger and a Scavenger. They're going to both rush towards the middle, I expect. I think the Scavenger is slightly ahead of the Dread Charger, and Shadow is going to pull out a bunch of units to compensate for that. I guess they're going to have these units with their summoning sickness worn off by the time they get to the center. Fire sees this and pulls out a makeshift tower. It's probably not a good choice. It's not going to finish before that Dread Charger gets to it. And if the makeshift tower never gets off a shot, it's wasted power entirely. And they decided to take the well so they can summon without summoning sickness. But with the power disadvantage they're going to be at, it's going to be very hard for them to hold the center now. I find these makeshift towers just do too little damage, and if they never get off a shot, it's entirely wasted. So for fire, in this kind of position, it would probably be better to use Eruption and splash it on any units that have summoning sickness and try and get a most efficient Eruption as possible. And yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to hold the center on account of those makeshift towers that they pulled. I don't think that was a good choice. And there's a lot of units, and the top half of them here are all susceptible to an Eruption right now, but I guess the fire doesn't have the power on hand to do that. And instead of taking a well in the center, they're now going to push on the natural expansion of fire. And yeah, the fire has out a Scavenger, but he knows there's nothing he can do against that built-up army, even if it's weak. So the fire's in a lot of trouble now. If they don't get themselves a base with an orb, they won't be able to progress at all, and they already have a 100 power disadvantage from losing that well very early in the game. They were able to extract 23 power out of it, but still, that's a substantial loss. And actually, they are now going to go and take the natural expansion of the south. So we have a position reversal here, which means that both these bases are going to be basically forward bases, very vulnerable to attack. The south player is going to come and attack that, but with half the units sick, he decides to pull them back and sit them near an extra well. So instead of going for a full-out assault, the south is going to go for a power advantage instead. It does a partial attack, maybe just to clear up some void power. They have 6 units in play right now, so they want to get some void power back. I'm not sure if they'll be successful in killing anything here, but it doesn't look like it. That makeshift tower is pretty effective against small units. They healed up the rest of the army and now sending those in. They're not fully healed, but maybe it's just to harass a little bit. They didn't commit. Yeah, the south has decided to go for a monument, and so has the north. So the north is playing pure fire, and the south is playing shadow nature. And the south is now committing the rest of those units to an attack. Like I said, probably to clear up void power. Cycle some void power. So the south has a power advantage in terms of destroying a well, and they are continuing to develop a more serious advantage because they're holding 2 bases with 2 power wells, whereas the north is only holding 1 power well at the moment. So that's going to build up to be a pretty substantial advantage over time. And it looks like one Forsaken decided to pull back and live, and a deep one has come out for the south. Fire has a couple of things it can do against that. Yeah, that's probably the best one, a Gladiatrix. It does L damage, pretty large amount of it, and there's 2 of them out. There's a life weaving now on the deep one. These gladiatrix have the ability to remove that life weaving, but I'm not seeing that happening. Oh, heal there. This monument's taken a real beating on, and because of the life weaving, gladiatrix and makeshift tower have already gone down. There's no power available for another heal though, so that orb is going to survive. So the gladiatrix was a good choice, but it should have been using its ability there. Another deep one comes out already, hopefully to finish the job, I believe. Some Sunstriders are going to push forward, but they get taken out in one hit. That Forsaken that escaped earlier, it looks like it's just trying to slowly poke a hole in this wall, maybe to harass later with. Firesworn came out, but it got oinked. Firesworn are really devastating against Deep One. I mean, this one's fully upgraded, so without blocking the action too much, you can see it does 350 damage with 150% bonus. Yeah, it doesn't manage to get that well down, but it's down to 370 life. So that was pretty close. But a couple Firesworn and the Gladiatrix basically makes this base impervious to deep ones now. Shadow Phoenix came out. I think that was a little bit too late, but it looks like it was going to attack those, but now it's just going to suicide and manages to take out one of the Firesworn, so maybe not an entire waste.
A power well is under attack.
The power well is under attack. There's a Fire Dancer in play. That's to be expected from anyone playing pure fire. There's not much point to play it if you don't play those. The Nightcrawler and an Oink come out, so that's not a very power efficient defense there. And the well is already half dead. But yeah, the Nightcrawler is going to die. It had to Frenzy, so manages to save the well. But yeah, sometimes it's a little bit wasteful if you don't see the Fire Dancer coming in advance, because they just do a lot of damage, and sometimes you have to spend the crowd control as well. That Forsaken's poked through the wall, but it knows it doesn't stand a chance against that orb, so maybe it's just waiting to summon a unit when there's an opportunity to do so. This north or fire has pulled out a bunch of units now, and the deep ones come out. That was a nasty surprise there, and actually that was quite power efficient. That basically ended on an opportunity for a northern attack there, and it killed well over 200 power in units for a deep one and a nasty surprise, which only adds up to 170. And I think because of the power advantage that the south has right now, they're just trying to make sure that the north is not able to go on a defensive and offensive and destroy anything. They just want to make sure that they can hold on to their advantage. Yeah, they now have 3 wells now, so they're going to develop an even more serious power advantage.